Okay, so good morning. Geshe unfortunately got positive coronavirus, and many of our staffs are also quarantined because of the contact tracing. So since he will be in that lockdown quarantine place for 1-2 weeks, so I thought it may be useful if I try to take few classes. So I will continue where Geshe has left. Yeah, so you have, according to what I was informed, you have finished studying on the 7 branch practices, right? And so today we will start the second topic, which is talking about the actual meditative session. Now, this actual meditative session, actually you have that English version of the middling stages of the path, which they have given you. So you will be able to read from there. So the actual process of actual session has 2 parts: general process of sustaining the meditation and the process of sustaining the session at this point. Now, with regard to the process of sustaining the practice in general, first you need to identify the meaning of meditation and then the purpose of meditation. So what we are going to talk about is meditation. The meditation is important to make your mind serviceable. That's the main point. As Tsongkhapa says in his great stages of the path, that we are controlled by our own mind, and our mind is controlled by negative emotions, and therefore we are having a lot of suffering. So now we need to make an effort to have our mind controlled not by negative emotions, but positive emotions. Since we are not very habituated and used with making our mind habituated with the positive emotions, therefore it is important to make repeated effort. So therefore meditation means getting habituated with the virtuous practices. So we need to do a lot of meditation, a lot of forming of new habits. With the negative emotions, our habit is very strong. I sometimes call it die-hard habit. Very difficult. Even if we think I don't want to get angry, we get angry. Even if I say I don't want to get upset, I get upset. I don't want to get stressed, I get stressed. So therefore it is important to adopt a process of thinking in which in all the turmoils and upheavals that we experience in our life, whatever be the external situation, which unfortunately in many cases we don't have much control, but we can at least change our perspective, change our mind. How people will treat you, what will be the weather look like, what will be the pandemic do, all these things that is outside of us, we don't really have much control. But in all these situations, we have control over our behavior. So therefore, during this pandemic also, they are saying that you should adopt all these COVID-related positive behaviors. So that means doing physical exercises, like at least improve your physical strength by doing exercises and eating nutritious food and getting proper sleep Then also emotionally cultivate all the positive things, think and study more about positive things. So positive emotional built up is also very, very important. Then spiritual upliftment is also important. So we need to physical, mental, emotional level, we need to upgrade or update in today's modern world. We are very fond of using this word updating, which primarily means updating the technological products, updating your mobile phone, updating your camera and things like that. But we don't care much about updating ourselves, updating our behavior. So that is the problem. There's the problem. So therefore, meditation basically means updating yourself, upgrading yourself, uplifting yourself, which is in your head, right? This is very, very important. And this is the core, I would say this is one of the core teaching of the Buddha, where he said, self is the protector of the self, no one else can be the protector. Self is the refuge of the self, no one else can be the refuge. And this is very clearly pronounced during difficult experiences like this pandemic experience, when such difficulty arises, then people will tell you, isolate yourself. In Buddhism, we have been talking about this for long. Go into the mountain, do retreat, isolate yourself, remain in solitude. So remaining in solitude is not equal to loneliness, right? So there's a big difference. Solitude you do intentionally to invigorate, to strengthen your inner mental qualities. Loneliness happens when you don't know how to live with others and how to live alone, live by yourself also. So therefore, it is really all these profound teachings of the Buddha are making sense, in the modern day, making sense when we encounter problems and difficulties. That's why Buddha was talking repeatedly about, right in the beginning, he spoke about all the realities of suffering, impermanence, selflessness, emptiness, and so forth. Why is he talking about this? He's talking about this because we turn a blind eye on the truth, on the reality of the law of nature, and we live a life of pretension, and of greed, of ceaseless use of material products, so much so that we ourselves, right from the Industrial Revolution, we ourselves really have become a team of producers. And whatever we produce is unfortunately mostly to the advantage of the so-called powerful and rich people, and not so much beneficial to us, except like getting minimal facilities like food, clothing, housing, and so forth. So therefore, it is now becoming imperative. The Buddhist teaching on impermanence is becoming more and more and more vivid and clear. Impermanent, impermanent. Science is changing, technology is changing, human relationship is changing. There's no certainty. Even the skills that you learn today may be irrelevant tomorrow, or at least after 1 week. So what will you do? What will you do when everything is changing so quickly? What will you do? So you need to realize when everything is changing, there is one thing that doesn't change, which is the change itself. So therefore, therefore, what the Buddha was saying when he spoke about impermanence, he was basically saying, things will change, things will, become uncertain. So in all those, situations of change and uncertainty, you need to prepare yourself in such a way that you're mentally controlled, calm and peaceful, and do not get scared or frightened by these changes. So that's why meditation is so important. Meditation is meditating on developing the virtuous qualities, the inner qualities, because it is these inner qualities which is going to help all of us. If you have the right mental perspective, right mental inner quality and strength, different people may be in the same situation, but the one with the right mental perspective will be able to enjoy in all different circumstances, or at least he will not lose his mental stability. So it's really, 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 really important. So COVID-19 is actually a good teacher in one sense. Human beings, very difficult to change. You may attend many teachings, you may meet many great teachers, you will feel moved for a short time. Then again, the die-hard habit, the habit of desire, greed, ceaseless greed, all this comes back. And in fact, it is this ceaseless greed that we have today in the world. All these undesirable things that is happening today, including this particular pandemic, are all, in a nutshell, result of greed. It's greed that is destroying the environment. It is greed that is destroying the stability of the ecosystem. It is greed that is killing randomly and misusing animals, birds, and so forth. So it is said that 60% of the human diseases are related to mistreat of animals, right? So therefore, we really need to think carefully and change our habit, especially for the coming generation, the younger generation. What is it that you are going to live and so forth. So therefore, meditation means get habituated with these inner qualities. And once you strengthen and develop these inner qualities, they will be your unfailing guide. They will be your unfailing friend. They will be there with you all the time. I mean, once we are able to develop these inner qualities, you will see amazing fruits, really amazing fruits, unthinkable fruits. Mind is very powerful, very powerful, right? When the mind wants to fight somebody, without hesitation, just jump in front of a machine gun, you know. It is due to ignorance, but still you can see the power of the mind. And when the mind is concentrated, and when the mind is in affection, in love, one sees everything good, nothing negative, nothing bad. When one's mind is in anger and in hatred, the whole situation, the whole environment, people surrounding you, everybody looks negative, horrible, and so forth. This is really our mind, which is the one that makes our destiny and also mars our destiny. So therefore, one Tibetan teacher said, there is nobody who will catch hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. Similarly, there is nobody who will catch hold of your leg and drag you into hell. Your happiness and your suffering is in your hand. Do not cheat yourself. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Do not cheat yourself. Take care. Bye, take care, as we say. Bye, take care. Nobody says, bye, I will take care of you. Right? So I'm just saying this so that it is really a little bit easier for you to understand. But I'm sure you know all this. Right? Sometimes when you hear from other people, it makes more sense. So I'm saying this. So therefore, the meditation on the spiritual path that we are going to discuss from here is, as I said, so that when you repeatedly do this meditation, then your mind becomes very serviceable. As Tsongkhapa says in his summary meaning of the Lamrim, that means that you train your mind in such a way, and you get so trained that when you focus your mind on a particular object, it will stay there, unmoving, like a mountain. Concentration is so good. If you tell the mind to meditate on love, it will say yes, sir. Compassion, yes, sir. Patience, yes, sir. It's really like becoming a very faithful, obedient son. And then, if you want to focus on one point, it will stay like a mountain, undistracted. And that is so important. Why we need to focus? Focus, stay your mind on the positive things. And much of the problem, especially in today's world, much of the problem that we experience is because our mind is so scattered, so distracted. running after so many things. So many things. There was a time when people really do not have much information. So therefore, having classes and learning from a teacher becomes important. But today there is overload of information. There's so much information. You can't just absorb all this information. And there is no need to absorb all the information also. And there's so much information, right information, wrong information. How are you going to sift the right one from the wrong one? You know? So don't get too distracted. And I always tell people, if you're thirsty, you need to drink water, but not necessarily the whole ocean. And it is because of this, Shantideva, right in the beginning of his Bodhisattva way of life, he says that life is short. There are too many things to do, too many things to know. And we do not know exactly our own lifespan. Therefore, extract what is necessary. Just like swans extract milk from water, take that which is really necessary. Don't just run after so many of this information. Because the information overload is so much that even if you, the other day I was reading a book which says, even if you say, for example, even if you're somebody who is really addicted in listening to the TED Talks, you can spend your whole life just listening to the TED Talks. And similarly, there are like so much information in so many websites and centers and organizations and so forth. If you try to print all over this information, it will be just distraction. And I myself is experiencing that. And they're very tempting. They're very tempting. So what we need to know, whether you call yourselves practitioners or not, what we really need to know is something that will make your life meaningful. Although it is not easy to say what is the purpose of human life, what is meaning of human life. But primarily it looks like, at least from the Buddhist viewpoint, is the purpose and meaning of your human life is for yourself to be happy and for making others to be happy. Therefore, Nagarjuna said that if you really want to establish yourself in life, then you should make effort in helping others. And he says, if you don't make such an effort, you will never get established. Right? So therefore, as much as possible, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, if possible, help others. If not, at least do not harm. These are very powerful, simple practices. And if you do those practices, then you have nothing to regret. When you have nothing to regret, it means you are satisfied. That state of satisfaction is called happiness, right? So therefore, the purpose of meditation, as I said earlier, and which is said here also, the purpose of meditation is to make your mind serviceable so that you are able to employ your mind in every field that you want to employ. Right? But the thing that we need to clearly understand here when we talk about Buddhist meditation is we are really talking about getting habituated with the positive emotions, positive qualities. Because the mind can get habituated with the negative emotions also, which we are already habituated with negative emotions. That's why there is so much stupid things happening in this world. Unnecessary division between men and women, between nation to nation, society to society, religion to other religion. So much division because our small mind knows only division. Because that shows the smallness of our mind. That's why in Buddhism we talk about meditative shunyata, which is the ultimate nature of everybody. And once you understand that, you don't see that division. You don't see that room for that division or the meaning for that division. A few days back, I was reading a book which says the bird which flies in the space probably never says that this is my home. Because you cannot develop that grasping in that limitless space. It's for everybody. You get that feeling that it's for everybody. Everybody can fly. You cannot say that this belongs to me. But human beings, out of narrow-mindedness, stupidity, even try to claim the space. And emptiness and space are like similar. Their nature is very similar. Right? So therefore, these meditations are really, really useful. Now, so therefore, since the purpose of the meditation is to make your mind serviceable to positive practices, so therefore, it is important right from the beginning to ensure that your process of meditation is correct. And therefore, he talks about the faults of your meditation when it doesn't, done, properly. So therefore, Tsongkhapa here says, for example, if you meditate from a little bit from here, a little bit there, and without really precisely knowing what are the steps of meditation, what are the numbers of meditation, what is the sequence of meditation, if you don't have that kind of preparation and discipline, and if your mind gets addicted, as we are right now, our mind is getting addicted, just go to everything, especially the tangible things, especially towards the sensual objects, not towards the inner mind, and especially the inner positive qualities. So therefore, we get, instead of getting habituated with the positive emotions, we get addicted to so many things, addicted to drug, addicted to sex, addicted to food, addicted to chocolate, Coca-Cola, whatever, we get habituated with those things. So when you get habituated with all those unhealthy things, it is called addiction, I think. Not habit, not getting habituated. And getting addicted is very dangerous. Just as getting habituated with the positive emotions, extremely useful. So likewise, when you get addicted with the bad things, negative things, destructive things, then the brain that controls you will be controlled by a brain which is addicted. Right? It is today scientifically said that the brain has a natural capacity to judge what is right and what is wrong. I mean, this point is very important. When I first heard about this from an expert, it was very enlightening. Because she said that if we live in a more natural way, then our physical body, including the brain, has some capacity to protect itself. What we call as the immune system, whatever we call it, it has its capacity. So brain, left in its own natural process, it has the capacity to protect you. But when you get habituated with the negative things, then gradually the natural brain, which normally analyzes between good and bad, what is good for you, what is bad for you, that stops functioning. And the addicted brain takes the role of that natural brain. For example, smoking. A clear indication is smoking. If you're somebody who is not used with smoking, then in the very beginning, when you imitate one of your friends and do a few puff, take a few puff, smoking, you will cough. Why you're coughing? You're coughing because the brain is saying, no, don't do this, it's not good for you. But if you, doesn't matter how many times you cough, but you push yourself because of your bad friend or whatever situation, you keep on smoking, then gradually you will stop coughing for a while, and then instead, then the brain says, bring more cigarettes. It's almost like saying, the brain saying that when I told you not to do, it's not good. You did not listen. Now, if you want to kill yourself, just take more, bring more. Then you get addicted and you can't stop that habit. So this is how many people destroy their life. With hatred, addicted to hatred, addicted to anger, addicted to cigarette or whatever. So many addictions. So even if you're somebody who doesn't believe in future lives or nirvana or enlightenment, things like that, but this life is not dream, it's a real life. And you really want happiness, and you should have that happiness. Right? So therefore, even for this life, it is important to do these spiritual practices to create an atmosphere of peace for you and peace for other people. Right? So therefore, you should make plan when you do the meditation, what to do first. For example, what do first, for example, means these days people are talking so much about breathing meditation. So that is how you can start tranquilizing the breath, as we say, because your discursive thought rides on the breath, right? Breath. And when your discursive thought goes in all directions, your breath also becomes unhealthy. So therefore, watch your breath and bring the discursive thought. Watch your brain on the breath. And through that way, once the discursive thought settles on the brain, on the breath, and becomes a little bit calm, then you do the main meditation, like on loving kindness, compassion, and so forth. So that is the process. That's why he's saying that you should know clearly the sequence of meditation, the numbers of meditation. So right in the beginning, you need to be careful, right? And for me, my small understanding of meditation is, for me, meditation is primarily getting your mind habituated with these positive qualities and making it a part of your life. That's the most important thing. Because in spiritual practice, the most important thing is fighting the negative emotions. Others are auxiliary. They are supporting practices. But the main thing is the 108 volumes of the Buddha and 225 texts is composed by the Indian great masters. And there is thousands of commentaries written by Tibetan masters. The focus is driving away, removing the negative emotions. Therefore, the Buddha himself summarized his teaching by saying, do not do anything that is negative, and do perfectly well the virtuous practices, completely discipline your mind. That is my teaching. So we need to just catch hold of some of these essential points and practice it. There's no point spending whole life just reading books, and not being able to summarize and do the practice in our regular daily life. Right? So therefore, it's important to know how to take the essence of the Buddha's teaching, because life is short. And most of us are already not anymore young. So it's shorter. Right? So each and every day, we need to eat that spiritual food. Just as we eat the material food 3-4 times a day, spiritual food we need to eat. So eat means, eating the spiritual food means not just reading the book, right? By reading the scriptures, by listening to a teacher, you should get the essence and as much as possible implement it. Okay? So the next point is, if that is the case, then what is the good process of doing the right meditation? So in the beginning, whatever object you want to visualize, you should remember the numbers and also the order or the sequence. And once you do this, then make a commitment Okay, now I will focus on this and not let my mind on other objects. That means, as far as meditation is concerned, especially when we talk about meditating on virtuous practices, there are so many topics: loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness, selflessness, impermanence, and countless things are there. They all must be meditated. But when you are especially meditating on loving kindness, then don't meditate on emptiness. There's the meaning. There's the meaning. Because it's almost like specializing, you know. The more you precisely understand loving kindness or compassion or emptiness by spending some time just on that, the more you, as I said, the more you precisely understand compassion and develop the conviction about the importance of that compassion and the types of compassion and so forth. And especially when you see whether I have this compassion that I'm talking about, that I'm thinking about. And when you see that you don't have that, then you make an effort to develop that compassion with yourself so that you're able to practice it physically, verbally, mentally. So if you get used to with that, just that one practice of compassion, you may not become a bodhisattva immediately, but even if you have really like very, very strong affinity, feeling of closeness and respect to that compassion and think about compassion, you know, repeatedly cherish it much more than the dollars that you cherish it or your friends that you cherish it. If you have that, that itself will help you develop so many other positive qualities very, very easily because they are all interrelated, interconnected. The problem with us is we know a little bit about, I mean, in my own example, it's like that. We know a little bit about so many things, but not good in understanding and also in practice on one thing. That's the problem. Therefore, there is not much progress. Therefore, it's because of this, Buddha himself in one of the sutra, he says, if you have one practice in the palm of your hand, you have all the practices in the palm of your hand. What is that practice? Compassion, great compassion. How is this so? This is so because if you have compassion, which means a mind which says, how nice if I'm able to remove the sufferings of all sentient beings. If you have that kind of mind, genuine mind, can you bully others? No. Can you exploit others? No. Can you kill others? No. Can you deceive others? No. Can you rape others? No. That's the meaning. If you have one good quality, or many other negative activities will stop, will cease. And then once you develop this compassion towards all sentient beings, then you will naturally develop this wish to help these sentient beings get liberated from suffering, from samsara. Then you will also think about what is the best way to remove their suffering. Then you will find wisdom, understanding, emptiness is useful, patience is useful, things like that. So this is how, developing one positive quality properly will completely change your life, change your mind, and strengthen your practice. But when you don't have that, then a little bit here, in Tibetan we say, Ya Sharvetsa Savanashi. Some of you must be knowing Tibetan. Ya Sharvetsa Savanashi. That means if you practice like a blind yak eating the grass. Yak Sharva means blind yak eating the grass. Because of his blindness, he will not be able to eat the grass in a more systematic way. He will just eat a little bit tuft of grass from here and the tuft of grass from there and so forth, So we'll also do like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. Then sometimes we have a lot of things to say, but it's not based on your experience, based on your practice. So it is not very effective. It's not very effective, right? So therefore, right in the beginning, ensure that you do proper meditation. Develop very intense feeling that I will do meditation systematically, and I will do meditation without exaggeration and without deleting anything, and I will sustain my meditation through mindfulness and conscientiousness. Mindfulness means letting your mind stay on the object. Conscientiousness means to see whether the mind is staying on the object or not. Guarding, sometimes they translate it as guarding alertness. That must be there. This makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Mindful meditation, mindful, whatever you're doing, be mindful what you are saying, what you are doing, where are you going. Don't just move around like a zombie, Don't just go because somebody said come. Think whether it's really useful, not useful. And then remain alert. Then process of doing meditation at this point. That means here we are talking primarily about relating to a spiritual teacher, how to find a good teacher and how to relate to him. So that is the topic, right? So here in this case, you should see, what is the advantage or benefit of having a good teacher, relying on a good teacher, and what is the fault and shortcoming or disadvantage of not relying on a spiritual teacher. Right? And the second point is, by reflecting on the qualities of the spiritual teacher, one must cultivate faith. Meaning, developing faith means without highlighting the faults of the Lama. Make sure that you don't highlight the faults of the Lama. With that kind of repeated thinking, and then think about his qualities like his morality, his meditative stabilization, and many other qualities that the person has. So think about those qualities which you're able to see yourself, and therefore change your mind into a mind with faith. Okay? So now here, regarding development of faith, Buddhism is basically a religion based on reason. Find everything through reason, not just faith. So therefore here, faith, I think, is positive faith. Positive faith, not blind faith. There are several types of faith. Faith basically means clarity of mind. Three types of faiths have been explained in one text by Potova. Potova mentioned three types of faith. One is called clear faith. Clear faith, the example that he gave with the clear faith is like a lustful person seeing a beautiful woman. When a lustful person sees a beautiful woman, his just mind becomes so clear, Mind becomes one with that lady. Clear. That kind of clear faith must be there with your positive qualities, with your spiritual teacher. Second is called trusting faith. Trusting faith, the example of trusting faith is like the trust that a little baby has to his or her mother. To the parlance of this little baby, boy or girl, his or her mother is almost like omniscient. And then this little baby thinks that my mother can do miracles, my mother can do everything. Of course, mother is not enlightened, can't perform miracles, but because of that very strong love to the baby, to the child, she is able to solve more or less all the problems of the little baby. So you can see that trusting bond. It's called trusting faith. That must be there. Then third is called aspiring faith. Aspiring faith is like the aspiration or desire of a person to get water when that person is extremely, extremely thirsty. When that person didn't get a drop of water to drink for a long, long time, is dying of thirst. And then the only thing that comes in his or her mind is water, water, water everywhere. And I read a scientific piece where it is said that when if you put 2 glasses of water in front, equal distance, and then little further from there, 2 people there, one very thirsty, one not thirsty. So to the parlance of this person who is thirsty, it really looks like the glass of water is nearer to him than the one who is not thirsty. So because of that aspiration, wish, strong wish, you feel closer to that object. So that kind of must be there. So this is in general 3 types of faith. But the important point is, what kind of faith that is encouraged in Buddhism in general, and especially in the Mahayana Buddhism, is not the blind faith, not the blind devotion, but faith based on reason. If you study Maitreya's ornament of realization, Abhisamaya Alamkara, there he talks about 2 types of faith. Faith cultivated by people who are not so intelligent, and faith cultivated by people who are sharp, who are intelligent. Faith of the people who are not sharp means they will just develop faith without asking many questions. Faith developed by intelligent person means that that person, before developing that faith, will ask all the possible questions. And through that, when that person finds the reliability, the truthfulness, the goodness of that object, that the teacher, then he develops faith, which is really like very stable, unshakable. There is a story of a mother who had so much faith to the monks. So one time a very bad monk came to her room and stole many things. Then people teased that lady, saying that, see, this is a result of your trusting too much to the monks. Now you are completely cheated. All your things have been taken away. Then this old lady said, still I take refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Still I have faith. So that kind of faith maybe or may not be based on reason, but generally speaking, if you have developed a faith based on reason, then you will never give up to the Dharma and Sangha. You will never waver and go away from the profound and vast teachings of the Buddha. If you don't have that faith, then today you may listen to Buddhism, a Buddhist teacher, and say, oh, it's so good, wonderful, wonderful. Next day, you listen to some other teacher, a non-Buddhist teacher or somebody, who says just the opposite. Still you will say, oh, so wonderful, so wonderful. So what is your stand? What is it that you are looking? People have really asked me this question long time back. whether it's important to just follow one religion or study many religions. They have asked me this question. So the answer I gave was that in the initial stage, study good teachings from all the major religions. That is okay. If you are not specializing, then it's okay, it's good. But when you specialize, then you should follow primarily Buddhism, the Buddha's teaching. And don't get surprised with that. It is the way we do in our schools also. In the lower schools, you have many subjects, but when you do your PhD, you specialize on subject because you want to become really expert on that. In Buddhism, we want to become expert in Buddhism, not to get that recognition and academic kind of scholarship, but to really pursue that path that will lead to higher state of happiness, including the possibilities of enlightenment and so forth. So therefore, unless you concentrate and follow one, I call it one dedicated line, just as, these days we are doing so many of these online teachings, So now we have this dedicated line, which is quicker and which is better than the ordinary lines, So if you have a proper dedicated line, then you can do both the downloading, not only the downloading, but also uploading both, right? So something like that. Okay? So therefore, my main point is develop faith based on reason. Based on reason is very, very important. Use your common sense. And that is what the Buddha encouraged at his time also. Because at the time of the Buddha, there were many teachers of different schools. So they used to visit all the villages and give teachings. So one day the villagers came to the Buddha and said that our village is visited by different teachers. They come and give a teaching saying that this is the short path, this is the best path, this is the good path. And then another teacher comes who more or less says the same thing, but gives a different teaching. So we're a little bit confused. What should be our process of getting the real teaching? And the Buddha said, you listen to all, but make your judgment. Use your brain. See, that's the thing. So use your brain means analyze, reason it out. Don't run because everybody is running. That's what we are. That's one major problem in the world today. Hardly any people are thinking for himself or herself. We are simply running where everybody is running. And then gradually, this because of this problem of running where everybody is running without cautioning. So in the end, everybody will run after suffering. That's what is happening right now. And then in the future life, so everybody will unfortunately run towards hell. Because everybody is running here. There is almost like a joke, in Tibetan, where it's a saying, which is almost like a joke, where somebody said, the so-called heaven may not be so good because even the great teachers, when after their death, they don't go quickly and heavily towards heaven, but they take slow steps, slowly looking backwards frequently. And then he says the so-called hell may not be so bad because everybody is rushing there. So this is almost like a joke. This is what we do. What we really need to know is there's no need to rush where everybody is rushing. Your life is your life. Only you're responsible for your life. neither the president, nor the prime minister, nor your spiritual teacher that can control you. Therefore, the Buddha said, I've shown you the path to Nirvana. Nirvana is up to you. It's your life. Make it meaningful, make it happy. Okay, so I think we stop here. So what do you do? Normally you have a question answer session or no? Hello?
The Tingsang the Tiwatin Shida
Yomarwe.
Yomare.
That may be, yeah, many, I'm sure.
Sometimes after a couple sessions, then Geshe.
Oh, yeah. Also. And then they shagin that.
Only three sumchu the famous gaboshons to Jichen.
Oh, yeah, tujiche. Yeah.
Really useful. Not the Samagas.
Oh, yeah. Then I'll give a singing down translator. Nika Gilachangala Ragwe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tujiche. See you tomorrow. Tashi Dele. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah.